The clock read 5:17 when I woke up, with the feeling that my feet were sinking into the mattress as if sandbags were anchoring me down. My first impulse was to wiggle my toes, but a prickly tingling sensation climbed up from my ankles to the backs of my knees before I could even blink. There's no way I'll make it to the porch today, I thought, clutching the headboard. The room still smelled of freshly washed sheets, but the familiar scent did nothing to ease the tightness growing in my chest. Have you ever woken up with legs so heavy it felt like you were dragging sandbags? I felt that way almost every day. My name is Margaret. I'm 72 years old, and since I was a little girl, I've tended hydrangeas in the backyard of my Ohio home. These days, I rely on a cane just to make it down the hallway. And the discomfort in my legs didn't show up all at once, like a thief in the night. No, it came slowly, like a quiet debt collecting interest. Too small to bother me at first, but persistent enough to knock me down later. It started with the strange tingling behind my knees as I crossed the street to the market. I thought it was just a passing cramp, but then came the swollen ankles by evening, even on days I spent sitting quietly, flipping through a book on the couch.
Week by week, stepping over the small threshold at my front door felt like climbing a mountain. I began to notice stiffness, especially in the mornings, as if my legs were coated in a thin layer of concrete that cracked little by little with every movement. Things worsened when I started losing sleep, kept awake by persistent, nagging pain. I assumed it was normal, just one of those inevitable signs of aging, but a voice deep inside kept whispering that something wasn't right. One day, I decided to see a doctor. His office was at the end of a quiet street lined with tall trees, their leaves crunching softly beneath my feet. The doctor, a man with a distracted gaze, barely listened. He nodded vaguely, eyes fixed on his computer screen. After a few quick, impersonal tests, he told me it was normal fatigue for my age and prescribed a generic anti-inflammatory. I took it for a few days, but it didn't help. That frustration gnawed at me. I felt like my body was trying to tell me something, but no one was listening. One afternoon, while organizing my spice cabinet, I found a small, forgotten bottle. The label read, "Rosemary Essential Oil." I remembered buying it long ago after reading it could help with muscle pain, but I'd never worked up the nerve to try it. That night, though, the pain was sharper than usual, and I decided it was time. Following the instructions I'd read before, I diluted 3 drops of rosemary oil into a tablespoon of almond oil to avoid irritation. I warmed the mixture in my hands, breathing in its fresh, herbal scent. As I gently massaged it into my ankles and calves, a pleasant warmth spread through my legs. Each motion brought a timid but promising relief. When I lay down, a small flicker of hope settled in my chest. For the first time in weeks, I slept soundly. No twitching, no restlessness. I woke the next morning feeling a strange lightness. Something was beginning to change. But, like all small hopes, this one was tested sooner than I expected. After a few days using the rosemary oil, I noticed some subtle improvement, but it still felt like too little. A scary thought started haunting my nights. What if it was something more serious? Something that required surgery? That fear, the kind that only someone in their 70s can truly understand, crept in like a shadow at dusk. As that fear grew, something else strange happened. The over-the-counter medication I'd been prescribed began to show its ugly side. Stomach pain and constant discomfort. The pain in my legs was already hard enough, but now it felt like my whole body was protesting. I stopped taking the medication and became even more determined to find a natural solution. I grabbed an old notebook whose yellowed pages had quietly witnessed my personal battles over the years. In it, I carefully wrote what I called
the Lightness Protocol. It was simple, practical, and structured, like a family recipe to be followed daily. I wrote down exact times for the oil massages, scheduling them for mornings and before bed. I also set time aside to elevate my legs to help with circulation and swelling. One sunny morning, as I sat on the porch trying to relax, the doorbell rang. It was my neighbor Eliza, a sprightly 75-year-old woman who seemed to have found the secret to youth. Seeing the tired look on my face, she asked gently, "What happened, Margaret? You look so worn out." I told her about my legs, the constant pain, and the fear of surgery. Eliza gave me a compassionate smile and said she'd gone through the same thing a few years back. Her solution? Regular massages with rosemary essential oil and a few simple morning exercises. Give it time, Margaret. It works. Stick with it, stay disciplined, and be patient. This isn't just a try, it's a plan that works. Her steady voice and personal story gave me the courage to replace the word try in my notebook with plan. It was no longer an experiment. It was a path I had chosen to walk. That night, as I warmed the oil in my hands again, I remembered Eliza's reassuring smile, and for the first time in a long while, I felt truly supported. In the following days, I noticed small improvements. I could step over that doorway with a little more ease, and the tingling behind my knees had eased significantly. They weren't dramatic changes, but to me, they meant everything. For the first time in ages, I fell asleep with a peaceful dream. No fears, no doubts. My life was changing, slowly and gently, just the way it needed to. Each passing day, I carefully wrote in my journal the progress I noticed in my legs. Sticking to a routine wasn't new to me, but what made this one special was the feeling that, for the first time in a while, I was truly in control of my own well-being. I started my mornings early, right after a warm shower to open up the pores. I'd sit comfortably and take my time preparing the blend. 3 drops of rosemary essential oil mixed with 1 tablespoon of almond oil. Warming the mixture between my hands before applying it felt comforting, almost like brewing a gentle tea on a chilly morning. With each massage, I could feel a soft, pulsing sensation, a gentle awakening, as if tiny streams inside me were starting to flow again. According to a 2017 study by the University of Pisa, nearly 68% of participants aged 65 to 80 who used diluted rosemary oil in leg massages reported a significant reduction in swelling after 10 days of treatment. This wasn't a miracle, just a natural, biologically proven effect. The secret behind these benefits lies in 2 natural compounds found in rosemary, rosmarinic acid and antioxidants. These components help improve blood flow, especially in the smaller blood vessels in the legs, reducing fluid retention and easing inflammation. To put it simply, imagine your blood vessels as old garden hoses that have lost some of their flexibility over time. The essential oil works gently to help those hoses regain a bit of their original stretch, allowing blood to circulate more freely. At the end of each day, I made a point to assess my progress honestly. In the pages of my notebook, I used simple numbers to express how I felt. On day 1, the relief was mostly emotional, like an inner hug saying, "I'm taking care of you." By day 3, I noticed I was moving more freely, as if my legs were slowly breaking free from invisible chains. On the 5th day, something incredible happened. As I walked down the stairs, I didn't need to grip the handrail as tightly. It was a quiet victory, but deeply meaningful. For the first time in months, I felt confident while walking, unafraid of tripping or being caught off guard by sudden pain. Alongside the massage, I adopted a few simple habits that helped enhance the positive effects. I began taking short 10-minute walks each morning before breakfast. I added light seated exercises, ankle circles, gentle leg lifts to gradually strengthen my weakened muscles. I also adjusted my diet, cutting back on evening salt and adding circulation-friendly foods like garlic, turmeric, and berries. These small actions were like puzzle pieces that, when put together, revealed a clearer picture of well-being and independence. Day by day, my journal confirmed it. My legs felt lighter, less swollen, and my sleep was deeper and more restorative. By day 7, I could feel it clearly. My body was remembering what it felt like to live without pain, without stiffness. Every steady step felt like a triumph over the heaviness that once held me back. I was finally rediscovering the lightness I had thought was lost forever. If you've made it this far, maybe you're feeling the same curiosity I felt when I discovered that something so simple and natural could bring real relief to tired, aching legs. So let me clearly lay out the step-by-step of the routine that turned my daily pain into a pleasant and effective ritual. Proper dilution. Mix 3 drops of rosemary essential oil with 1 tablespoon of sweet almond oil or another neutral carrier oil, like coconut or jojoba. Best time to apply: right after a warm shower, when your pores are open and your skin is clean. Massage routine. Spend 5 to 6 minutes on each leg. Start at the ankle and gently work your way up to the thigh, using upward circular motions. Calm breathing. Before and during the massage, take slow, deep breaths. Inhale through your nose for a count of 4, and exhale even more slowly for a count of 6. Leg elevation. After the massage, elevate your legs on 2 pillows for 15 minutes to boost circulation and reduce swelling. Complementary habits. Take short 10-minute morning walks to stimulate circulation. Add light exercises like ankle rolls, seated leg lifts, or standing on your toes a few times throughout the day. Eat circulation-boosting foods like garlic, turmeric, and berries, and reduce your salt intake. To track your progress, notice small signs within the first couple of days: less swelling, a lighter step, and more peaceful nights of sleep. And remember, always talk to a healthcare professional before starting, especially if you have visible varicose veins, sensitive skin, or any diagnosed circulation issues. The best proof I can offer isn't just my story, but also others, like my neighbor Eliza, who, at 75, remains active and full of life thanks to these same self-care routines. She's living proof that aging doesn't have to mean discomfort or limitations, but rather adaptation, self-awareness, and gentle action.
And you? Have you ever felt what Margaret went through? Or tell me, have you ever felt anything like what Margaret described in your legs? Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever experienced anything like what Margaret endured? Are you going to try this technique? Give it a shot for 7 days, then come back to the comments and share your experience. How did it go? Do your legs feel lighter? Your story could inspire someone else to take their first step toward comfort and healing. If this story brought you any comfort or answered your questions, be sure to subscribe to the channel and click like. That helps YouTube show this content to more people who are looking for lighter legs and confident steps. Thanks for staying with me until the end. See you in the next video.